So, Thanasi, this weekend is obviously Backlash in Lyon, France, and we have five matches on for this card, which seems a bit light, but it is what it is, and that's what we've got to work with. So, without further ado, let's get right into it and start with our predictions on the first match that I've included, which honestly will probably be the main event, and that is Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles for the undisputed WWE Championship. Now, for me, this feels like the easiest match to predict, to be perfectly honest, just because he's just won the title. There's no way that Cody Rhodes drops it this soon, especially to AJ Styles, who, in this phase of his career and build, it wouldn't elevate him any further than what it could, but the victory over him could elevate his opponent. So for me, it's very clear that Cody Rhodes wins this. How about you?
I 100% agree with you. I mean, it felt like this whole time that they were selecting a challenger who would be a good person to put Cody over, right? And AJ Styles is that reliable veteran who can wrestle, who can cop a loss, and it doesn't really affect his momentum or his standing as a professional wrestler. If, for example, they had given LA Knight the number one contendership and then gotten him to lose, it would have stunted his momentum completely. So this was 100% the right booking call. AJ Styles once again is going to be putting over a world champion to kind of legitimize their reign, as he did last year when we were overseas, when he did so at in Saudi Arabia for Seth Rollins in the tournament final, and as he did in 2016 when he had recently begun post WrestleMania, I think it was. He had that feud with Roman Reigns and went for two or three matches. So reliably, AJ Styles is going to be the one to look at the lights so that Cody Rhodes can get his big babyface victory.
Onto the second match of Backlash that we're predicting, and that is Bayley versus Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton in a triple threat for the WWE Women's Championship. Now, for me, again, this is actually a, quite simple. I think with Bayley, she's recently won the title. I think given it's a triple threat as well, there's no reason in this particular case to have her drop the title to either competitor. However, that doesn't not mean I don't want to see either of them win the title sometime down the line, especially Tiffany Stratton, who I think is really showcasing her talent on the SmackDown brand. But that being said, I think this is one of those cases where it should be a good match and it could be a good platform for the other two wrestlers to show off their abilities. But at the end of the day, champion's probably going to retain. Here, I've got Bayley going out on top. What about you, Thanasi?
Well, see, my view is that these sorts of glorified house shows often don't have title changes. So I'm not going to predict Bayley to lose the title. In fact, it's her first pay-per-view defense since becoming the champion. So even though she is going up against Naomi, former world champion, going up against Tiffany Stratton, future world champion, I have to go with Bayley on this one. And I think it was a pretty good decision for them to include Tiffany Stratton on this because it just gives her a bit of an elevated platform to show her stuff. I don't see her winning the title here, but I do see her quite shortly down the track potentially being Queen of the Ring, a Miss Money in the Bank, some sort of a prominent jump up to get to that, let's call it the pre-main event level, just to kind of to strap a rocket to her further down the line, but with a good, strong showing, probably with Naomi getting copping the pin on this one. Bayley, I think, is going to be the victor.
And just very briefly, I want to say that I feel like it's very commendable on Tiffany Stratton's part that it already feels like she's nearly there. Like it feels like she's only a step or two away from really being a legitimate top star in the women's division of WWE. So just, credit to her. But
Yep.
talking about some of the other stars of the women's division in WWE, in our next match, we have the Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill in a tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. And for me, this is where I think the house show rule isn't is not going to be in effect because I think we're going to see a title change here. I think Bianca and Jade are going to get it and keep very strong. What do you think?
Well, they Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, they got a very big six-woman victory at WrestleMania, and it does seem like they've got all the momentum on their side. And they made a big deal. I think it was on social media they must have released that the Kabuki Warriors are allowed to defend their title across both shows as the women's tag team champions. But when they lose them, inevitably, that's when they will be exclusive to their selected brand, in this case, Raw. I'm going to make the bold prediction and say that this is going to be the one pay-per-view title change for this one. I actually think that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are going to get the championships, and they're going to be the first ones to win the women's world titles overseas.
And I think as well, the thing that could help in that case is with Raw's women's division seeming a little bit light, having someone of the star power of Bianca Belair being able to just be on the show as well, I think could really help with the programming there with 3 hours to fill. So I think that could also be like a quick short-term fix while we wait for people like Rhea Ripley to recover. But moving on to the fourth match of the night, we've got Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. And this one is a really hard one for me to predict, but I feel that right now the fresh tag team of Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga probably can do with this win more than Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, especially since Kevin and Randy are not trying to act like they are a tag team. They're more of like just
An
allies at this current
alliance.
moment.
Yeah.
And I think for that reason, I think Solo and Tama Tonga are going to get the win here. And it could be a really good victory for their current credibility as well. Tama Tonga is obviously a recent signing for WWE. Solo Sikoa has sort of been made to, take the fall a lot of times, especially when under Roman's leadership. So I think this could be really good for them if they get the win here. What do you think?
Look, I'm going to 100% say the Bloodline's going to win. I'm going to go so far as to speculate, maybe not predict, but certainly speculate on the method that they're going to use. I think they're going to use the time and tested method of you bash beyond, like, within an inch of their life, one of the two tag partners backstage so that it becomes an effective handicap match. Probably at somewhere through the match, the beaten up member is going to make that kind of babyface run to the ring, tag in, and give it a real hot tag to try to come back, but nevertheless still succumb to the heels. And I think that given that Kevin Owens has been on the receiving end of some attacks by this new bloodline, specifically by the henchman Tama Tonga, that he's the one that's going to get smacked around backstage during the beginning of the Backlash show, maybe on SmackDown, maybe on the go home, who knows? And then he's going to have a run out while Randy Orton is trying to fight it out by himself. So overall, definitely going to go with the Bloodline as the victors on this one. I can't go past them.
And on that note, that takes us to the final match for us to predict. And this might not be the main event of Backlash, but it's certainly a high profile match for the show. And that is Damian Priest versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Thanasi, before I give my thoughts, I'm going to throw it to you. How do you see this one playing out?
Jey Uso is well and truly cementing himself in the main event of the main roster scene. However, in spite of the fact that he is making those jumps, trying to prove that he can hang in the singles division after that slightly disappointing outing, I would say, at WrestleMania against his brother, I would say that we'll have to go with Damian Priest as the victor here. Like he's just won the title. He's really trying to cement himself as a credible world champion. And the only way you can do that is by amassing wins. I don't see this one being, like the first ever world heavyweight title change on French soil overseas, because we've already gotten something similar like that when it was crowned in Saudi Arabia, I think it was. So no, I don't see Jey Uso taking the belt on this occasion. But if he puts in a good showing and it's up to both of them to try to dance with each other well, we could see something very impressive.
Against my better judgment, pardon the pun, I'm going to back our boy Jey Uso to win here. I think there's no logic to why I think that. This is a pure vibes prediction, but main event Jey Uso is one of the most entertaining acts in WWE right now. The fans are completely engaged with everything he does. He's found his own charisma as a single star. And there comes a time in every wrestler's career where they get the just rewards for what they're able to accomplish with the fan interaction. So just even though I don't actually think with my head that he's going to win here, with my heart, I'm going to back Jey Uso. And that's going to be the one difference in our predictions, Thanasi. So really, it's all on this match to decide who's going to come out the winner of our little predictions battle.
And I'll tell you what, it may even open the show. So we'll have a known predictions winner after the first match.
And if nothing else, at least then afterwards we can just enjoy the show, not worry about trying to best the other. We already know what's happened.
Well, here it's going to be on at what, like 4 a.m., 3 a.m.? What time's it going to start? It's going to be like an ungodly hour.
I don't even know. Actually, in the comments, let us know where you're going to be watching Backlash and let us know what time you have to get up or to watch it as well. I think that could be an interesting thing. So if you are listening and you are planning to watch Backlash, let us know when, where, and what time you're gonna have to watch it. And while you're down there, let us know your thoughts on who's gonna win at Backlash, what your predictions are, and if we have made predictions similar to yours, or if we've gone completely against the grain. Let us know in the comments below.